Alright, welcome. This is our dish for the day. We have Mongolian beef in the wok right now. Looks delicious. If you want to see how we got this mixed together, please stay tuned. Hello and welcome back to Trying to Cook. As you can see, it is another gorgeous day where I'm at. Hope you guys are having a good day. Today we have another Asian inspired dish that we're going to be attempting. We're going to have Mongolian beef. I know in the last video I did mention that Mongolian chicken was my favorite. Beef though, I'm just a little bit more comfortable with. The recipe that we're going to be attempting to replicate and not burn and make tasty is by Marion's Kitchen. I'm sure that you all are pretty familiar with her. She is a huge influencer for me, and she actually is the one that got me into these Asian dishes. Mongolian beef is extremely tasty if done well, so no pressure for myself today. But I did double and triple check the ingredients. These are it right here. I do have everything listed below. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and try to capitalize on what I think was a success in the last video with the beef bulgogi. Still hugely surprised that it worked out and tasted the way that it did. But let's get to it. And just another side note, I know at the end of the last video I kind of showed you the sunflowers that I had just gotten. As you can see, we have a little bit of a home garden going on. That lettuce is definitely, I'm gonna say dead. Also, if you don't realize, it actually does grow out. That way I didn't realize, but yeah, one thing that I have a question about is this tomato plant. It seems to be dead or dying, yet it has tomatoes growing off of it. Is this normal? We honestly were about to chuck this into the trash the other day when you noticed that these little yellow and red friends were sprouting out the ends of it. I suppose, yeah, I just have questions as whether this is actually normal. You can actually see it, there's another stem coming out of the soil right here, but yeah, it's very interesting. I guess for tomato plants, they tend to go through different phases, one being alive, dead, and then growing things. But yeah, just thought I would like to share that. Hello, ma'am. Our tried and true plastic cutting board. We're gonna get the fancy butcher knife for today. I don't know what it is. There's just always smudges on this. I have cleaned this 5-6 times and they are still there. Next we have chuck steak. In the recipe it does list flank steak, but from what I understand they are the same thing. She also has 14 grams. I did have to Google that to kind of figure out how much that is. Roughly that's 0.87 of a pound. This is 1.05. I think that should be okay. I mean, it's always better to have more than less, right? But when did I ever say that and it turned out well? But anyway, yeah, we have our steak right here. And just as an update, I did research and apparently flank and chuck steak are not the same, but flank steak looks to be tougher than a chuck steak, so we're just gonna go ahead and go with it. I'm sure that it will be fine. I have said that quote every single time that it has not gone well, but we'll go ahead and push forward to make sure that we're putting in the correct measurements. Vegetable oil. I realize it's not how you say it. And we have 2 garlic cloves, 1 red onion, and we also have ginger. She has 4 centimeters of ginger. I again had to do that calculation because I'm American. I do not know what that means, and that is roughly 1.5 inches. Hey girl, hey. And girl right here is trying to take out my steak. You have high ambitions, ma'am. No. We also need cornstarch, 4 green onions, ma'am. And here she is trying to figure out alternative routes to get up to our steak. Excuse me, ma'am. Nope, nope. We also need 2 dried chilies. Alright, just a little bit of an update. Old girl had a lot of courage and attempted to jump onto the counter. With her furry paws, though, she wasn't really able to get a grip on the counter. She then toppled down, fell on the food bowl, and then spilled the water all over the floor, so she is now in timeout. And for those of you wondering if she was fine from the fall, she was absolutely okay. She actually, if I could actually stop saying actually, immediately ran outside, jumped onto the barbecue, and attempted to catch a fly that she saw. So she is perfectly okay. Have you learned your lesson? Don't jumping on things. No jumping. When I say no 5 times, it means no. The answer's still no. Alright, but moving on. She's still gunning for it, so I'm going to keep an eye out. But we also have 3 dried red peppers. The ingredients that she has listed is actually just for 2, but you guys know that I have to just spice it up a little bit more. I know Marion actually is pretty much the queen of spice. She talks about it constantly in all of her videos, but I just can't help it. We're gonna go with 1 more extra. Okay, so for our marinade, we have a few more ingredients listed right here. Our cornstarch is actually used in both the ingredients and the marinade, so we'll be including that, but we're gonna go ahead and grab the rest of these. You are just my little shadow today, aren't you? Excuse me. 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. Alright, so our marinade, I thought that mirin would be able to be a substitute for the Chinese shaoxing. Is it shaoxing? Shaoxing wine. But apparently I did do some research, and mirin apparently is a sweeter variety, whereas the shaoxing wine is actually more spicy and not quite as sweet, so we're going to go ahead and just leave that out. And we also have baking soda. Also need some brown sugar. And just by the way, right now we're pulling our stir-fry sauces. So of course, we're going to minus the shaoxing wine. We have the brown sugar that we just grabbed right now. We're going to go ahead and grab that chicken stock. Alright people, so this is everything. I'm going to break it up into chunks, so that way it's not too over, exaggerated. But for our ingredients, we have 1.04 pounds of chuck steak in substitution of the 4 ounces of flank steak. We also have 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil, 1 red onion cut into wedges, 4 centimeters, which is 1.5 inches of ginger, which is going to be finely chopped. We also have 2 garlic cloves, 2, which in our case we have 3 red chilies, dried red chilies. We are also going to have 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, also corn flour, and we're also going to have 4 spring onions / scallions cut into batons. For the marinade, we're going to have 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. We're omitting that tablespoon of the Chinese shaoxing wine that it's suggesting. We also have a 1/2 tablespoon of baking soda, and then 3 tablespoons of cornstarch / corn flour. For our stir fry sauce, we are going to have 1/4 cup of soy sauce, 1/4 cup of our chicken stock, 3 tablespoons of our brown sugar, and again we are also omitting the shaoxing wine, again just because I do not have it. Alright, then we're going to go ahead and cut this up. Alright, and here is our steak cut into smaller pieces. If anything, I did follow her on how to cook it. What she recommended is cutting against the grain while slicing, so that is exactly what I did. So moving on to the marinade, we have soy sauce, tablespoon of baking soda. And lastly, 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. Right, gloves out, we're gonna go ahead and mix through. And there we have it. Hopefully missing that Shaoxing wine or sauce, I don't remember which one it was, doesn't affect us too bad. But also in the beginning of the video, I don't recall if I called this a Korean dish, but apparently it's a mystery in terms of where this originated from. In her ingredients, you can actually see that she has, Chinese Shaoxing wine in there. But apparently there's some roots back into Korea, all these other Asian countries. So just want to clarify that. Okay, our bowl for our stir-fry sauce. Great, so first is a 1/4 cup of soy sauce. 1/4 cup of chicken stock. 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. Alright, and we also have a cornstarch mixture that we'll be adding in toward the end. It calls for 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, focus, mixed with 1 tablespoon of water. Alright, so off to the side we have our marinating beef. We also have our cornstarch mixture and our stir-fry sauce. We're going to go ahead and finish up chopping up our veggies before we get to it. So first off, we have our red onion chopped into wedges. We're going to go ahead and grab our ginger and finally chop about 1.5 inches of this. Next, we have 2 garlic cloves. As you see, there's 3 here. I'm going to go ahead and take one off, but it says roughly chopped. I'm assuming that they should be somewhat chunky. 4 green onions, batonged. Alright, and our chilies. 2 tablespoons of oil. We also have our wok spatula. I actually looked it up and that is the real name. Alright, we are ready to jump in. Alright, so in the video she says let it sit for about 1 minute and let it brown. We're going to go ahead and do that and then flip. One minute later. Alright, we then transfer outside of the wok. She did say to make sure to have them separated, that way they're not staying on top of each other and creating moisture. So I also added in our chilies into it. We're going to go ahead and just stir fry this for a bit. Right, we're going to go ahead and pour in our stir fry sauce. Next is our cornstarch mixture. That cornstarch almost instantaneously thickened up that sauce. We're going to go ahead and put our beef back into the pot. our spring onion. All right, you guys, that looks like restaurant quality. Marion, you know your stuff, girl. Oh my goodness. All right, so I think it pretty much looks like it should taste pretty good. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm hoping that the Shaoxing wine didn't take away too much from the flavor. If you need a refresher, that's pretty much the only thing that we are missing from it. But just taking a look at this, yeah, I'm about to devour that. I'll give you guys an update just a little bit. Alright, so the feedback, it was definitely delicious. I think my biggest mistake was that when I turned the heat off, I did actually leave it in the wok, which I think continued to cook it, so it was a bit tough, but right off from the first bite, super spicy, which I absolutely loved. I'm glad I added that extra chili in there. I'm sure it would have been just fine the way that Marion had in the ingredient with just 2, but I think me just personally 3 in there added the right amount of spice for me. Like I mentioned, other than that, the meat was a bit tough, and again, I'm pretty sure that was the fact that I had left it in the wok and it had continued to cook while I was washing the dishes. And just a side note, the dishes at the end of every single one of these videos is probably the most painstaking part, not even and that's not even including the you know, the struggle of attempting to cook something so great by someone else correctly. It's just scrubbing off everything off of those pans and utensils and so on, but I'm on a tangent. But yeah, overall, I would give it a huge thumbs up. Like I mentioned, the toughness was more than likely an error on my part. I'll just be sure to be more mindful of that next time. I am definitely going to attempt to recreate that sometime in the future. But that is it. I do appreciate you guys checking out the video. If you've made it this far, please make sure you hit that thumbs up if you did enjoy. Subscribe if you would like to see more of these videos going forward. But yeah, as always, this was me trying to cook. I would definitely say it was maybe a 3.5 out of 5. But yeah, you guys can also be the judge. Go ahead and leave those comments down below, and I do appreciate the support. See you guys in the next one. Bye.